On January 1st, while fireworks split the sky and social media fills with promises of new beginnings, there are people who remain untouched by the moment. No countdown, no champagne, no emotional reset. They wake up the same way they did the day before, move through the day with the same rhythm, and feel no urge to announce a transformation. To many, this looks strange. To some, it looks sad. To others, it looks like resistance to happiness. But psychology tells a very different story.
Ignoring New Year celebrations is rarely about negativity. It's often about perception. Some minds don't experience time as a series of dramatic turning points. They experience it as a continuous flow. For these people, the idea that a single date can divide life into before and after feels artificial. January 1st is just another morning, not a doorway to a new identity. Their brain doesn't respond to symbolic resets the way most people's do. Many of them have learned, often through experience, that change doesn't happen on command. They've watched promises made at midnight dissolve by February. They've seen motivation spike and fade. Over time, their mind stops reacting to collective rituals and starts trusting patterns instead. If something is truly going to change, they believe it will show up in actions, not declarations.
There is also a strong connection between emotional depth and detachment from celebration culture. People who have endured disappointment, loss, or prolonged stress often develop a quieter relationship with hope, not because they lack it, but because they protect it. Loud optimism can feel fragile to someone who has seen life ignore good intentions. Celebrations that demand excitement can feel dishonest when you've learned that progress is slow and uneven. Another psychological layer is internal orientation. Some people are internally anchored rather than socially anchored. Their sense of direction comes from inner standards, not shared milestones. They don't need the world to agree that it's time to start over. They begin again when something inside them shifts. That shift may happen on a random Tuesday in March, not under fireworks in January.
For highly introspective individuals, New Year's celebrations can feel overstimulating and shallow. Noise, crowds, forced enthusiasm, and surface-level resolutions clash with a mind that prefers reflection. While others are celebrating, these individuals may be quietly reviewing their year with brutal honesty. They're not avoiding growth, they're approaching it privately. Silence, for them, is not emptiness, it's processing.
There is also a subtle resistance to performative living. Modern celebrations are no longer just experiences, they are broadcasts. Photos, captions, and public optimism become part of the ritual. Some people instinctively pull away from anything that pressures them to display emotion rather than feel it. They don't want their inner life shaped by trends, timelines, or expectations. Ignoring the celebration becomes a way of protecting authenticity.
Interestingly, people who skip New Year's celebrations often value consistency over intensity. They don't believe in dramatic overhauls. They believe in small, repeatable behaviors. While others aim to become a new person, they focus on becoming a slightly better version of the same one. Their psychology is grounded, incremental, and realistic.
There is also a connection to self-trust. If you trust yourself deeply, you don't need external permission to change. You don't need a global signal telling you it's acceptable to start again. You already know when it's time. That confidence can look like indifference from the outside, but internally, it's stability.
For some, ignoring the new year is also an act of emotional self-regulation. Big celebrations create pressure to be happy, hopeful, social, and inspired all at once. Not everyone's nervous system thrives under that demand.
Choosing not to engage is a way of staying balanced. It's not withdrawal, it's self-awareness.
Then there are those who have learned that expectations are dangerous. New Year celebrations are loaded with expectation. This year will be better. Things will finally change. Happiness is coming. People who have been disappointed too many times often stop participating in rituals that inflate hope without guaranteeing substance. They prefer quiet optimism, or none at all.
Culturally, we treat non-celebrators as outliers, but psychologically, they often represent a mature relationship with time. They understand that growth doesn't obey calendars, healing doesn't wait for January, discipline doesn't arrive at midnight, life doesn't reset because we want it to. Accepting this can lead to a calmer, less reactive mindset.
It's also worth noting that many people who ignore New Year's celebrations are deeply observant. They watch how others behave during this time, the sudden promises, the public confidence, the short-lived motivation. Over time, they stop participating not out of judgment, but out of clarity. They see the cycle, and they choose not to repeat it. This doesn't mean they lack goals. It means their goals are quieter. Instead of resolutions, they build systems. Instead of declarations, they make adjustments. Instead of motivation, they rely on routine. Their progress is less visible, but often more durable. There is a common misconception that celebration equals happiness and silence equals sadness. Psychology repeatedly shows this is false. Emotional expression varies widely. Some people feel deeply without showing it. Some people are content without announcing it. Ignoring a celebration does not indicate emptiness. It often indicates independence. When you understand this, the narrative shifts. The person sitting quietly on New Year's Eve isn't missing out. They're opting out. They're choosing meaning over noise, depth over display, reality over ritual. Their mind doesn't need a crowd to confirm direction. As the year moves forward, these individuals often continue exactly as they started, steadily, privately, and intentionally. No dramatic posts, no public reinvention, just quiet consistency. And months later, when visible results appear, they seem sudden to others. But for them, nothing was sudden. It was simply uninterrupted. So the next time you notice someone ignoring the new year, resist the urge to label them. They may not be stuck. They may not be pessimistic. They may simply understand something many people don't, that real change is not an event, it's a process. They don't reset their lives on January 1st. They refine them daily. They don't chase the feeling of a new beginning. They build continuity. They don't celebrate the promise of transformation, they live it quietly. And sometimes, the people who ignore the celebration are not behind the crowd. They're ahead of it, walking at their own pace, unconcerned with the noise, and deeply aware that the most powerful shifts in life rarely happen with fireworks.